The most commonly asked question about me is about my hair and about how I get that blow dry. So the magic behind that is entirely Greg, who works at Joshua Atelier and is also a fantastic opera singer, I just have to say. So I kind of wanted to show you what he does, and usually Greg and I get together really early in the morning. It's very rushed. I have a mask on, I'm at the computer, we have a chat for a second, and then we both get on with our job, you know, like that. But I just rushed here now in a cab, and I'm just going to take this off because I just feel a little bit sick this morning. God. So there is a technique. I try and show hairdressers around the world your technique, Greg.
Right.
And I always show them the finished result and say, can you get that? And everyone tries to get somewhere a different place. But what I'd love is you show the ladies at home how you do it, because there's real techniques about it. So kind of, if you describe my hair first in terms of what it is, because a lot of people just see it done, so undone.
Yeah. As you can see, there's a wave in it, and it's a wave which can err towards a frizz, especially around the finer areas here, so around the face. So these areas we have to blow dry more gently, because the more you pull and tug and apply, excessive heat, the worse that's going to become. So I always do the front first, because it's done then.
Yeah.
You also get an idea of how it's going to look, then I can get on with the rest. So this is the most delicate bit. There's another thing about your hair also, which is that even though it has a wave in it, it can drag quite easily.
Yeah.
And there's an awful lot of blow drying in the industry now, where we pull and we twist and we pull and we twist, which gives great texture through the midlegs and ends, but it doesn't give you this.
Yeah, it just makes that, and I've had that so often when people see my hair, and they do that twisting with the brush, and it pulls this bit so straight.
Yeah.
And it's weird because a lot of women, when they look at their face, like women I know who have a very small forehead, will really do that a lot because they want to reproportionalise.
Yes.
So a part of me always feels I have a very big forehead,
yeah.
so I'm always thinking I should do that.
Yeah.
But what my partner sees, funnily enough, is he always says, get a bit more here because I have big cheeks and I have a long face, so I do need to have something that's giving me volume here. Otherwise I look very like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think where you need the volume is here, because this can feel quite tight. When this opens out, it becomes triangular.
Yeah.
So the volume there is important. I think your hair looks good when it doesn't lift away at the front, but something comes across.
Me too. Yeah.
So what I always do first is to blow dry this section as though it were a fringe.
Yeah.
Sweep it back, let it part and find its own place, and then you get something which just comes across here, which changes your face shape into more of a diamond actually. And then work on getting the volume through there. So that's my approach. Okay. So that's what I'll show as we're working.
So it's no different from makeup or clothing. It's about misdirecting the eye. It's about hiding what you don't want to see, showing off what you like. It's about recreating face shapes. So there's so much you can do with a good blow dry.
Okay. So the first step is I've already put something in which is called Split End Seal by Oribe. It's a great product.
Do you say
really
Oribe?
I say Oribe.
I say Oribe or Oribe.
Oribe.
Yeah, I never know how to pronounce it. It's like way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Up to you. But
this seals it in. I mean, I've got this little baby at home, but I don't use it much on its own. So you just put it here.
I use it just in these fine areas. It's a bit like hand cream for your hair. That's how I see it. It's incredibly light. It disappears. You don't need very much. It's incredibly expensive. So it's about £45 a go. Yeah. But it will last you about a year.
And in the summer I've used this just on its own on the ends, when you get that really splitty end. Yeah. It is very good actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So next step is, with a view towards getting the volume in the roots, is my little baby Resolute Lift by SP. I use this by the truckload, and you can actually spray it in.
This is why I wear the bloody mask.
You can unscrew this and pour it on, and it would still work. It's wonderful, and as you can see, I aim it right into the roots, and mid-lengths and ends barely at all. But if you section it off bit by bit and get it right into the roots, and do this when your hair is at this stage, i.e. not sopping wet, but just down to the touch. Yeah. Then you're at the right bit.
Can we talk for a second about, a lot of people have different ways about how much they rough dye before they dry, because I think that's so important, because I think if you get it at the wrong stage, if you rough dry for too much, you won't get that you won't get the sleekness of the curl because you'll be too frizzy if you have my kind of hair.
Absolutely. There is what they call a point of conversion, which is where your hair goes from damp to dry. And if you can mould the hair with the brush at the time that that's happening, you're going to get something that's going to last really well. So it's complicated with your hair because it's long, it requires volume, it requires texture, and it requires a sort of quite a cute kind of, almost like a straightish end, a pokey end.
Because we do that
to stop it from looking too dated.
Too dated, exactly.
So
we'll talk about that in a minute, about how straight an end should be compared to the curl in the middle.
9 times out of 10, and there is always an exception because sometimes it just doesn't work on certain hair, but 9 times out of 10, you start to apply product when the hair is 80% dry. So it's just down to the touch. Really well towel dried. Sometimes if your hair is very fine, or sometimes if your hair is even very coarse, it might need to be a bit wetter. But the rule is that if you start trying to style and lift and curl and wave or smoothen out hair that is still dripping wet, you can be at it for hours. But secondly, when you finish, there'll be no volume.
Why? Because it would just go. Because you've spent so long on the heat.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're damaging your hair more.
I don't quite understand scientifically why, but experience just shows that that's what happens.
So 80% dry is when you start doing the curl?
80% dry is when you start to apply the product. And then what I will do next is to dry the roots first, to get the volume into the roots. So they will be pretty much dry. Mid-length and still have a little bit of moisture, and then you start to blow dry. So that's cool.
I mean, you are using, like, you use 20 pumps of that.
Yeah, loads. Yeah. Particularly around here, less so underneath, and really not on mid-length cement at all. Doesn't need it.
Great. So, carving up the hair is important. You're going to rough dry a bit now?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is it's at the right level. I'm going to just start lifting the roots. So I'm going to use a large comb. Yeah. The parting is around about here, and I'm going to push it away. I'm going to push it into the parting. So I'm going to lift it in the opposite direction. It's actually going to fall. Because then when it comes back, it will lift up. So literally, bit by bit.
Flat against their face, I always notice that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're doing this yourself at home, the simplest thing is to turn your head upside down. But for your comfort, I can do this. So. And by using a comb, I can really get a good grip on it.
Because also turning my head upside down, I would be nervous I would get the ends in as well.
Yeah, you would be drying those out a bit too as well. But if you have a water spray to hand and you start working a section that's already too dry, you can always redampen it slightly. That's always an option. So you can see, now that I've just looked at the roots, it's already standing away. So you have part of your blow dry already built in. So I'm blow drying the area where the parting is. I'm blow drying it as though there were no parting. I'm blow drying it forwards.
Why?
Just because when I flip it back, it will then find its own parting, which I think tends to be best. So I'm still only just blow drying the roots. Turn it back. I'm shouting now.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
You can all hear you, and everyone probably listening would be going, yes!
Okay. Alright, so I blow dried the roots here as though we were a fringe. Thrown it back. Just do that, and then it finds its own way. This will drop down this way, that will drop down that way. Have some kind of lift. This is now ready to be curled and swirled and all those things. I'm just going to leave that for now, and I'm going to start working around the hairline area and get those bits. What I'm doing now is I'm wrapping the hair around the brush, almost like a spiral. And I'm leaving the ends out, and I'm allowing the hairdryer to just smoothen the hair out and push itself out, so you get that wave going through the mid-length. But then the ends will be slightly straighter. They're not going to curl around, because that would date it, that would take it back to the 70s, which as a look is lovely, but it's not quite what we're about today.
What are the biggest mistakes that people make?
Oh gosh, there are so many. And actually, blow drying your own hair is so much more easy now than it used to be because there are so many utensils. Babyliss Big Hair is amazing. Have you ever used it?
The rounding brush.
It's the rounding brush. It is a brush.
Use it, but I find for my hair I can't get the frizz out. Okay, so what are common things people can have issues with?
Good question.
Okay, I think when we've done our hair the same way for a long time, and our face changes, it's like makeup. Like our body changes. So it's about looking at a style you've had for years. Like one thing I do with so many women, there's a woman who in her 30s thought, let me grow a fringe because I don't want to show my forehead. Because my forehead has lines. But they don't necessarily suit a fringe. So I'm always throwing it back. Like this morning, I'm always pulling back fringes.
Right, okay.
Because I just feel framing your face is so important. But are there classic, talking about hair shapes, are there classic things that if you have a very broad face and, are there classic
There absolutely are. So when it comes to a fringe, for example, if you've got a tiny little forehead, it's just going to crowd your face. So it's about the proportion of your face, and so it's worth checking out, is my forehead high or low? Am I wide here? Am I square here? Does it come round? And those will give you great indicators.
Maybe you have a very small forehead, you shouldn't have a fringe.
Not necessarily, but if your hair grows forward, you might have to have something soft. You might have to let the rest grow out, so it sweeps across, you can progress the haircut, and can then kind of peep out and have a swing to it. It really, really depends. But we either have a sort of a good eye, a hairdresser who's honest, and I think it's good you can Google too. You can Google, there's Pinterest, there is YouTube, which is full of people showing techniques now. But you need to be dispassionate, if possible, and be test try things like travel and parting. Sometimes you can throw a parting afterwards.
Swapping parting is the quickest way, because it's like you're doing it now. It's training your hair to fall differently, so it gives you a height, it gives you a crown.
Absolutely.
Changes your face.
Absolutely.
My problem is very sensitive because whenever I do this way, next time I get it right, I really want to understand on the next one. When you get that first bit of hair, what are you doing to the bottom and when are you going to the middle? I just want to see that whole thing.
So,
will you go to the next one?
Sure. Okay. This one's going to be done. The ends, I'm kind of leaving out. So I'm letting those fly out from the brush, and I'm using the air direction of the hairdryer to push those straight, to give it a clubby, like a clubbed finish. The mid lengths, I'm just wrapping around the brush. I'm allowing the brush to mould the hair, and then I take it bit by bit down to the roots, so that we have as much bend at the roots as possible. And then as we just let that out, as you can see, you've got this spiral at the root, which basically bit by bit becomes a bit looser, and you get to the bottom, it pokes. And then what I do next is to just, while the hair is cooling down, is to pin that in so that that curl is as firm as possible. And we may, at the end, go over the opposite of the tongue to break it up. But I find that this works best.
Many people say, you've got from your hair, and you and I don't use songs, we use songs once you're doing it.
We keep it to a minimum, because, you're heating up hair that's dry, so you're sort of baking it really. And this is what you want to try and keep to the minimum if you possibly can. So anyone at home who's reliant on using a straightener, a tong, that sort of thing, you really need to find a way to keep it down to once a week at the most, because
it's going to kill your hair.
It's not just a case of having dry ends, it's a case of having dry roots, middle and ends. Once that's happened, once the hair has been damaged by this, it's really difficult to get it back. And it's like a drug. You end up having to use the heated utensil more and more and more just to make it look reasonable.
It's a catch-22.
It really is. So we're lucky because we have an awful lot of hair products available now which will protect your hair from the heat to an extent.
But I think time-wise, Greg, is why a lot of people do it, because they'll look at this and they'll think that's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I only have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think the fundamental difference is if I spend really good time on my blow dry, it will last me 5 days.
Yes.
And some people with really greasy hair, it won't.
Yeah.
And that's when I believe if you have the structure in place and you've got good product and you're creating that shape that's not created so quickly that it would drop quickly, then if you use a dry shampoo foam halfway through, you'll maintain the shape. I'll brush it gently, and usually when I brush it, I don't pull it. I'll hold it against my hand and brush it, and put some dry shampoo foam on. And I've done your blow dry for a week, and some people say your hair looks great today on day 6. Whereas if you're doing something quickly, every day, it will damage your hair more, and it will, ultimately it's taking you as long. So it's like you might say, on a Sunday morning when I have time, I'm going to do this proper blow dry, but that will last me till Wednesday or Thursday. That's kind of,
That's the idea, yes.
The idea.
Yeah.
But that's not every hair, because if you have a really fine hair, would that happen?
Every head of hair is different. Some hair needs to be shampooed more often. It's difficult to say.
Do you believe the less you shampoo, the less you need to shampoo?
I do. I think you need to use as high quality shampoo as possible with as low a detergent level as possible. And if you feel like I have to wash my hair every day, otherwise it's going to get greasy, I would suggest try eking out to a day and a half. So wash your hair in the evening for the next day, and then sleep that through to 36 hours from 24, and then to 48. Your hair will show you, if you live in a city and it's polluted, you might still need to be shampooed every 2 days. That's better than every day. It's much less strain on your hair. Allowing the ends themselves just be free, and then I'm just pushing the air down the shaft of the hair. It's really important that you never ever go against the hair shaft. You should always go down the hair shaft. And I'm just polishing the ends in a way to begin with, pushing them smooth with the heat and airflow of the hairdryer, until they're nice and smooth. Every time I just take the brush through, it just polishes it.
How hot do you have the hairdryer there?
I have it at the moment on hot.
Yeah.
When I get to, once I've finished working and I'm happy with the whole section, I'm going to start working towards the root now. I would then go on to cold. So I'm often flicking from hot to cold with my finger there. So there's the end.
And this is a really damaged hair.
Yeah. The top here is a bit drier. It's finer. It gets much more flat, So it's important to really get this right. So that's the end. It's got a good bend in it, and then the end is poking out of it. And now I'm going down to the root, and I'm doing the same thing there. So it's kind of a two-tier system in a way. And it's just what your hair needs. Your hair's complicated.
I'm disappointed with my hair after
Me too. So now I've pretty much got it as I want it to be. Flicking onto cold and just literally going through the same movements, but just cooling the hair down around the brush. In a way, it's kind of being moulded around the brush rather than dragged.
Yeah.
and twist it with the brush, and then what you get is that lovely, quite a strong coil, and I'm just going to pin this root in to strengthen that and let the ends be free.
Why are you getting such a gloss on it? Because a lot of people talk about the fact my hair's glossy. I mean, shampoo-wise, I use two. I either use Kerastase Elixir Conditioning Mask and their Devon shampoo, or I use Joshua Brunette shampoo and his, I don't like the conditioner, it's not strong enough for me, and his Everything Mask, which is...
I was going to say, have you used that? Okay.
That's fine, Brunette. Is there a different Brunette hair? There's another one.
Yes, there are two.
So I use that, but there's one for curly Brunette, I think.
That's
I use
right.
that one. And the Everything Mask is Everything Mask. It's got the density, it gives you hydration, it doesn't weigh the hair down. It's absolutely brilliant. I also use, it's like I'm here advertising for Josh, which I don't intend to do, but I also use these little things which are warm me up and cool me down. Don't use the warm me up. But sometimes after, I don't know why, but my hair gets warmer. If you want chestnut,
go for warm me up. But with you want to cool it down.
Yeah.
And
so I might have get a little red from, I don't know why I get it coming, but it arrives.
Something you want to neutralise in your hair.
I put a tiny bit of that in.
It's the opposite.
Into my conditioner.
Into the conditioner. Yeah. It goes into the Everything Mask. And it's wonderful.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Nearly there.
Nearly there. I'm switching the tongue on. In case.
Do we need to tongue? I think we
may not.
I think we need to show tongue free.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because we talked a lot, Greg, about trying not to use a tongue.
Yeah.
And really, over the last however many years, we've hardly ever used tongs. Only in the last few weeks we have, because we've been doing a lot of shoots and things, and I've needed to have hair that will be relevant to that shoot. But I think we just do my normal.
Okay, lovely.
Look with you.
Great. So just letting these out. And
do you think someone can do this at home? That's the thing. Can they? Is it something they take to the hairdresser and say, "Please, can you copy Greg?"
I think what's important is you need to work out how your hair functions.
So what do you mean by that?
Whether it needs to be lifted, whether it needs to be smooth. Yours is a mixture. It needs to be lifted, curled, and smooth. So you've got everything going on.
Yeah.
Not very many people have hair as complex to get right as you do.
Yeah.
So you need to work out how it functions, and then I think using your hairdresser for advice, you can work out the best way to blow dry. Very often, blow drying it in the wrong direction means when you flip it back over, it's great.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, but only you can work that out.
Yeah.
The important thing is to work with hair that's damp to dry, because if you can blow dry it so that it becomes dry from wet, it won't dehydrate. If you're working already with dry hair, you're just drying it out.
Yeah.
So if it's already dry, the bit you're working on, just take a little bit of water into your fingers.
Yeah. But still, you're saying have it 80% dry, not 20% dry, because I do the other end. I start with it really wet, thinking that's going to make my hair less frizzy. That's something I did for years.
Yeah. And it's a general rule. There's always an exception.
Yeah.
So you have to work it out for yourself and find your own way with it.
So now we do the zhuzh, which is what I do on so many women. I zhuzh their hair.
Zhuzhing is great, and you can zhuzh from underneath. What I tend to do is just run my fingers against the scalp as though I was shampooing.
Yeah.
And what that does is it loosens things.
Yeah.
And then the curl just finds itself.
Fucking gorgeous. Today it's like masterful, masterful.
There we go. And then I let Trinny just
and then I just kind of do that a bit.
Yeah. And then she runs and puts a cycle helmet on.
And then I get a motorcycle helmet on, if I'm doing this morning. But that's really, that's to me a blow dry that makes me feel polished, but not too done. There's movement everywhere. It will last and last. There is nobody. Well, like when Greg decides to go on holiday, I know this is a high-class problem. I was launching my business and Greg decided to go on holiday, and I was doing press every day, and I was like, Greg, why are you going to Japan? Anyway, but darling, thank you so much for showing us. And so many people always ask. I do it myself. I have done it myself because Greg's taught me. Generally, I do it more with Greg because then I can work and I get more done, and it's just fitting hours in the day. Thank you.
All right,
pleasure.
Greg and the perfect blow dry.